திருமலையாத்திரை செல்ல வேண்டும் என் திருமலையப்பனை சேவிக்கவே.
லக்ஷ்மீநாத சமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுன மத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்ய பர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குரு பரம்பராம். யோ நித்யமச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்ம ருக்ம வியாமோஹதஸ்ததராணி த்ரிணாய மேனே அஸ்மத்குரோர் பகவதோஸ்ய தயைக சிந்தோ ராமானுஜஸ்ய சரணௌ சரணம் பிரபத்யே. ஹரே ராமேதி கிருஷ்ணேதி நாம சங்கீர்த்தனம் சதா லோகக்ஷேமாய குர்வந்தம் பிரேமிகம் சத்குரும் பஜே. ராதிகா குஜகஸ்தூரி குங்குமாங்கித வக்ஷசம் ஸ்ருங்கார ரசமூர்த்திம் தம் பக்த கோலாகலம் பஜே. கலயே சுந்தராகாரம் சதைக பிரியதர்ஷனம் அஜ்ஞான நாசகம் தேவம் சத்குரும் முரளீதரம். முரளீ மண்டித கரகமலம் முனிஜனமோகனம் வியத்யஸ்த பாதம் வனமாலாதாரிணம் பிரேம பக்த மண்டல நித்ய கீர்த்திதம் பிரேமிக வரதம் ஆஶ்ரயேகம். நாராயணம் நமஸ்கிருத்ய நரம் சைவ நரோத்தமம் தேவீம் சரஸ்வதீம் ததோ ஜெயமயே. வைபவம் திவ்யதேசானாம் புராணேஷு பிரகீர்த்திதம் கதிதம் காவ்யரூபேண கிருஷ்ணப்ரேமிக சூரினா. தீர்த்தஸ்நான பலம் சர்வம் க்ஷேத்ரயாத்ரா பலம் ததா படதான் ஷுண்வதான் சாபி சுலபம் நஹி சம்சயா. நம ஸ்ரீரங்கநாதாய காவேரி மத்யசாயினே அர்ச்சாவதார சிரேஷ்டாய சர்வமங்களதாயினே. சமஸ்த கல்யாண குணாபிராமம் ரமாநிவாசம் ரமணீய காத்ரம் சசங்க சக்கரம் ஜகதாம் சரண்யம் ஸ்ரீ வெங்கடேஷம் சரணம் பிரபத்யே. உலகம் உண்ட பெருவாயா உலகீர்த்தி அம்மானே நிலவும் சுடர் சூழொளி மூர்த்தி நெடியாய் அடியேனாருயிரே திலதம் உலகு காய் நின்ற திருவேங்கடத்தெம்பெருமானே குலத்தொல் அடியேன் உனபாதம் கூடுமாறு கூறாயே. ரமாரமண கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா. Sadguru Maharaj ki jai. With the blessings of our beloved Guru Maharaj and Sri Madhuri Sakhi Sameta Premika Varda Thakurji, we are very blessed to go or to embark on a journey to a great Divyadesam, which is Thirumalai. Generally, for people who are all devotees of Bhagavan, Narayana, 3 temples take primary importance. They call it Kovil, Periya Kovil, Thirumalai. Kovil means our Kanchi, our Vishnu Kanchi, Sri Deva Perumal or Sri Varadaraja Perumal in Kanchipuram. Periya Kovil means Periya Perumal, our Sri Rangam, where our Sri Ranganatha Swami blesses us with his wonderful darshan. And Malai means hill, hillock. And Malai is Thirumalai, which is our Srinivasa Perumal, the Lord of the 7 hills. Kovil, Kovil means temple. Periya Kovil, big temple. Malai, When you say Malai, it is always our Srinivasa Perumal's Tirumalai only. You call it Tirumala. Na? So we are embarking on a journey, more than a physical journey. This journey of seeing the lovely Purana or history, a greatness, Vaibhavam of our Srinivasa Perumal with our heart is even more superior. How do I say that? Our Sri Sri Anna in Divyadesa Vaibhavam says, Vaibhavam Divyadesanam Puraneshu Prakirtitam. All the various Puranas which extol the greatness of our Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal. Our, like various flowers in various lovely gardens called 18 Puranas. Our Sri Sri Anna collected those flowers together. Katitam Kavya Rupena, made it into a lovely bouquet in form of a kavyam, in form of a Purana in its own right. A Stala Purana in its own right, Divyadesa Vaibhavam, and he has given us this wonderful, fragrant bouquet of flowers collected meticulously from various Puranas, and it has been added, it has been arranged beautifully, it has been decorated beautifully in form of his own divine composition in the heart of our Sri Sri Anna in form of Divyadesa Vaibhavam. And very beautifully, it is said, Tirthasnana Palam Sarvam. The fruit of going to the various Tirthas, to the various Tirupatis, to the various Divyadesams. Kshetra Yatra Palam Tata. Taking the actual journey of pilgrimage, the fruit of all that, just by reading and listening to our Divyadesa Vaibhavam. Right now we are listening to Tirumala Venkatesha Vaibhavam. Without any doubt, Nahisam Shayaha Sulabham. We very easily get the fruit of all the Tirtha Snana, whether it is Ganga Snanam, Kaveri Ji Snanam, or Triveni Snanam, or the various Tirthas, the Shankatirtha Snanam, the Chakra Tirtha Snanam, Pushkarini Snanam, etc., or the actual journey of pilgrimage to all these great divine places, all that just by listening or reading Divyadesa Vaibhavam, our Sri Sri Anna blesses us that it will very easily be available to us. That is the significance of what we are embarking by the grace of our beloved Guru Maharaj, Maharanyam, Sri Muralidhara Swamiji. And let us continue our journey. We are talking about our journey from our bhava, from our heart. Bhagavan himself undertook a journey, right from his working office, which Irabdi, he undertook that journey. Since he is a Bhakta, let me take the liberty of saying Bhagavan took a Tirtha Yatra. For us to take a Tirtha Yatra, we need a guide, isn't it? Likewise, Bhagavan also needs a guide. Who is our guide? Our guide is our Acharya. Our guide is our Guru. Bhagavan takes the same guide. The same guide leads us, inspires us, fills us with tremendous joy in our journey of pilgrimage to a Kshetra. Is the self-same guide for even Bhagavan to undertake the descent. His pilgrimage is that of descent. Our pilgrimage is that of ascent. Bhagavan uses Acharya to chart his journey towards the pilgrimage, for the pilgrimage to his Divyadesa. We take guidance to undertake that pilgrimage to the self-same Divyadesa. That Acharya, or this Tattva, this principle of Guru, we say Tattva now. Grandest principle of Guru is espoused, is embodied in this great Maharishi called Narada Maharshi. Naram dadati iti Naradaha. Naram means Bhagavan himself. He gives Bhagavan to, that's what a guru is. Na? That's what she does. He brings Bhagavan to us. Na? How does he bring Bhagavan to us? To our Dhruva Swami, Narada Maharshi gave him Vasudeva in his heart first, and then brought our Paravasudeva, our Bhagavan Sri Vasudeva before Dhruva Maharaj. Bhagavan came down, a journey which was charted, a journey which was arranged by our Narada Maharshi. That is for yogis. But for normal householders, for normal people like us, his compassion becomes multifold. Narada Maharshi's. So what he did was, he went to Bhagavan and charted a journey, a pilgrimage of descent from Bhagavan's working office, which is Shirabdi, to our physical realm. Can you imagine? That which transcends physical realm was caught, or rather pleaded by our Narada Maharshi to come and descend into the physical realm without losing its grandness, Chinmayam, Chaitanyam. And that's the miracle of Archavataram. Now do you understand why Alvars are so much attracted towards Archavataram? Why real Mahatmas, true Mahatmas, are so much drawn to the Divyadesa. Divyadesa means a holy place where Archavataram, or holy place where our Bhagavan resides eternally as an Archa Avataram, as a deity. That's the grandness of what we are discussing here. That's the amount of Kripa Acharya in form of Narada Maharshi has bestowed on us. That's why Bhagavan, who wants to bestow his Kripa, does it through the prerana or the trigger prayer from an Acharya Purusha, which is Narada Maharshi. That's why our Swamiji says, Hari Kripa and Guru Kripa are no different. To think Hari Kripa and Guru Kripa are different entities is a sign of ignorance. Ariyadavar peche. Hari Kripai, Guru Kripai வேர் என்று நினைப்பது or உரைப்பது அறியாதவர் பேச்சு, says our Madhura Gita. So that's what we saw in the past 2 weeks. That Bhagavan approachable only by the highest of all jnanis, who can be beheld, who can be experienced by the highest of the jnanis, who have sacrificed their family, their drawing of their senses, who have sacrificed the pull of their senses, who have controlled their senses, become a jnani, and hence attain the highest state of Vaikuntha, and hence in the state of bliss, constantly beholding our Paravasudeva in Vaikuntha. That self-same Vaikuntha Pati, Tyakta Parananda Vaikuntha Vasam, leaving that Dhamma, out of his tremendous Kripa, he has descended through the prerana, through the prayer of an Acharya Purusha in form of Narada Maharshi. That is what is our Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal, or Saptagiri, Lord of the Seven Hills, north of our place here, north of Madhurapuri, or our Kalyana Srinivasa Perumal, just next to Madhurapuri, or our Premika Srinivasa Perumal in the busiest part of the town of Chennai. All that is his tremendous Kripa. So when we stand before the Lord of the seven hills, who is also the Lord of the seven worlds, who is also the Lord of Vaikuntha, which transcends the seven worlds or the 14 worlds. We are standing before him when we enter into our Namadwaar, when we enter into our Madhurapuri, when we enter into Premika Bhavanam. Before whom do we think we are standing? We are standing before the Lord of seven hills, of seven worlds, and the Lord of that Vaikuntha which transcends all these seven worlds. With that bhava and the grace of our Acharya, when we which houses the tremendous compassion of Bhagavan, how can we not have an experience of devotion, of joy, of horripilation, of exhilaration or bliss? This is how our Swamiji, our Guruji has taught us to look at the deity in the temple. The first thing which comes to us when we approach a deity, the first thing which happens when a devotee looks at Bhagavan, whether it is Kunti Devi or Bhishmacharya or Dhruva Swami or Prahalada Swami, is to extol the praise, the compassion, the beauty of Bhagavan. It is not that we need to praise Bhagavan before we pray to Bhagavan. No. That's business. But a devotee cannot help praising Bhagavan, remembering his mercy, remembering his grace, remembering his grandeur, remembering majesty, also remembering his beauty and remembering his compassion. And after whatever, to the best of his lights, he praises Bhagavan, then he remembers, I also have a prayer. This is the heart of a devotee. So when we say, when you go and pray to Bhagavan, you chant his name, extol him before prayer, we don't actually mean for prayer, you extol him, please him, and then pray. No. When you realize where we are standing or before whom we are standing, this extolling becomes natural in our own words. If we can't find words, we already have 800 Madhura Gitams to extol him, you see. That's what Narada Maharshi did. That's exactly what he did in extolling Bhagavan, you see. And let us now go through starting from the 12th sloka of our Narada Maharshi's extolling. Let us read the first sloka of this chapter. If somebody can display it, it will be great. Sri Sadguru Ruvacha Samasta Kalyana Gunabhiramam Ramanivasam Ramaniya Gatram Sashanka Chakram Jagatam Sharanyam Sri Venkatesham Sharanam Prapadye. Samasta Kalyana Guna Abhiramam. All the wonderful divine qualities have found its dwelling place in Bhagavan. These lovely qualities, as a wonderful, majestic, handsome star, he is drawn only Sundara Purusha. There is no other Purusha. There is no other Purusha. We are talking about Shirabdi. I'll give you a lovely little rasa. There was this question asked to a great Vaishnava Acharya. His name is Sri Parashara Bhattar. We call him, with reverence and love, Sri Bhattar. He was the divine son of a great devotee of Ramanujacharya. And he was actually, in a way, contemporary of our Bhagavat Ramanujacharya. our Sri Bhattar. Yes, he was. Kuratalwar was the devotee, disciple of Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya had tremendous, I would even say, reverence for his disciple. Depending on what happened. We'll see that all later. We have a lot of time. And that Bhattar, Sri Bhattar was asked when they were churning this Milky Ocean where we are right now. We are all in Milky Ocean with our epitome of Acharya, standing behind our Acharya. Narada Maharshi is our Acharya. He is the principle of all Guru. So imagine we are all standing behind Narada Maharshi. And then in the midst of this grand Milky Ocean with gentle waves, we have this Adisesha Bhagavan with shining gems on his hood, 1,000 heads, enjoying our wonderful blue jewel, Neelamani Jyoti, which is our Sesha Sai, and our mother, Lakshmi Devi, softly kneading his feet. And the moment we see this Kshetrabdi, we remember that Kshetrabdi Mathanam. Kshetrabdi Mathanam happened after all this wonderful divine tree, a divine elephant, a divine horse came. Finally, our Kshetrabdi Kannika, our mother of the universe, our Sri Devi herself came from her birthplace with a mala in her hand to do what is called a Swayamvar, to choose her groom, to choose her bridegroom. And she looked around. And it is said she saw our Bhagavan Vishnu. And immediately she thought, in all ways, he is the true independent person. He does not depend on anybody. Hence, he is the Purusha. So she goes and gladly garlands our Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. And immediately climbs on to his Vakshasthala, chest, and found her place in the Srivatsa mark in front of Devas, Asuras, Rishis, Gandharvas, Apsaras. So Bhattar was asked, Swami, generally Shri means Hri also, no? Which means she has this ornament called shyness. When this epitome of so much gentleness, loveliness, has so much of shyness, in front of all these devas, asuras, etc., how did she take the liberty of climbing onto the chest of Bhagavan and finding a dwelling place in the Maru, in the Srivatsa? How can she do this? Bhattar, Sri Bhattar immediately said, Hare, a lady needs to be feeling shy only in front of other men, isn't it? Purusha, isn't it? When our Bhagavan Vishnu is standing, she saw only him as Parama Purusha. Rest were all dependent on him, and she found no other Purusha. So where is the question of shyness? Why should she feel shy in the presence of other ladies? Now take it spiritually. Don't go by all these current, worldly gender problems. Don't go there. We are talking about something transcending what's happening in this world. Take it in that way. So she says Purusha is Bhagavan, Parama Purusha. Rest is all Strina. So she had absolutely no reservation because there was no other Purusha around. And a Stree does not feel shy or feel reserved in the presence of other Strees. Samasta Kalyana Gunabhirama. If you take all the lovely qualities, grand qualities, starting from the qualities of greatness, Mahima, to the qualities of sweetness, Madhuryam, all the qualities imagined to be Devi, everybody flocked to one and only Paramapurusha, which is our Srinivasa Perumal. And then they begged Sri Perumal to accept them. And they felt very happy saying, I am the Patta Maheshi. Not the Patta, I am the Maheshi. I am a Dasi to my Srinivasa Perumal, to my Paramapurusha. And so all the gunas, all the lovely qualities flocked and found refuge gleefully in the wonderful divine Bhagavan. And that's the meaning of this wonderful word. One meaning. One cannot gauge the depth of Mahatma's words. We can try enjoying to our lives. Yataditam yatamatihi only, na? Samasta kalyana gunabhiramam. Abhiramam. So he is very pleasing. He is very attractive. Everybody is drawn towards him. Abhiramam. Not only people, even the gunas find him very attractive. And so they are never separated from him. Right from Sarva Shaktan to Sarva Sharanyan, the one who gives refuge to anybody, irrespective of who he or she is. Ramanivasam Ramaniya Gatram Sashanka Chakram. Bhagavan is holding Chakram and Shankam to make sure that all obstacles to people who surrender to him is immediately relieved, and the inner obstacles of ignorance is immediately destroyed, so that people can finally find refuge. Kudumaru Kuraye. We can find refuge in his lotus feet. Kachakram. The Chakram or Sudarshana Alvar is to make sure outer obstacles in form of Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika, etc. are taken care. The inner obstacle of Ajnana, inner obstacle or darkness of ignorance is dispelled by Shashanka Chakram, Shanka. Chando Mayena Kambuna. This Shanka is a very embodiment of divine knowledge. Have you ever heard what blessed our logo of our organization, God, with a shankam below? It denotes knowledge which dispels the inner darkness, which is very important for us to find eternal refuge in divinity. Sashanka Chakram Jagatam Sharanyam is the sole refuge. Sarvaloka Sharanyam. Seshadri Shikara Prabhu. Sri Venkatesham Sharanam. Let us all surrender unto Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal. And then journey. Let's go to the 12th shloka. Narada Vacha Anamarupopi Bhavan Naranam Upasanartham Dhritanamarupaha Karoti Nana Vida Kelikascha Bhaktapo Bhaktajanukulaha Prabhutvam Ichanti Tataiva Puja Palam Prayachanti Na Karmadasaha Palam Prayachanti Cha Karmadasaha Amna kurvanti surascha sarve kintutvam nanudhina bandhu. Everybody wants puja, no? All the devas want puja. And they say, do puja to me, I'll give you fruits. And they say, I will offer fruits. But they don't have independence to offer any type of fruits they want. Karma dasaha. They can only give salary. They are not given the freedom to bestow any fruit a devotee would want from them. They will give you fruit commensurate to the karma or puja done to them. Dayamanti. They don't know compassion. They cannot show compassion. Devas are bound. Our Swamiji used to say, if you are bound by iron shackles, Devas are bound by golden shackles. That's all. They are also bound. If you are bound within a few inches, they are bound with a few feet. That's also us, no doubt. We respect them, no doubt. But karma dasaha, another little, this is what is called airikyam. This is what is called sampradayam. Shastram is what Vedas, Puranas and Itihasas say. The path which is beautified, the path which is made even more lovelier by the various conversations of our Purva Acharyas is what is called Sampradaya. Sampradaya Vak. Once it seems, I think it is Kuratalvar, the father of Sri Bhattar we talked about, was asked, how should a person who has surrendered to Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal, to surrender to Bhagavan, Narayana, how should he conduct himself with other devas who are clearly under our Narayana? Sakala graha palanine sarasi jaksha. Navakolgalin palan Tharubavan Narayanane, writes our Swamiji, Padmanabha. So the question is, how should a person who is completely surrendered to Srinivasa Perumal conduct himself with other devas? Should he show respect, etc.? Our Kuratalvar very beautifully said. Keep that question aside. The real question is, how do these devas conduct themselves before a true prapanna, before a true devotee, before a true Bhagavata who has completely surrendered to Srinivasa Perumal? Devas offer respects to that person who has surrendered to Bhagavan. You see. Dayam na kurvanti surascha sarve kintu tvameko nanudina bandhuhu vedam pramanam pravadanti sarve dharmasya lokasya cha mangalasya nihatya daityo madukaita bhautau tvaya vinakena samakritaha saha. Everybody holds Veda to be Pramana. Veda Mata is Kripalu. She talks about all the devas in this Veda. So everybody says, Veda Pramanam. I am being talked about in Veda. Worship me. I am also a deity. Says all the other deities, so-called deities, these devas. And our Bhagavan, when Veda Mata was looted by Madhu and Kaitaba, during this, when the creation was just about to start, who went, took the effort and trouble to retrieve Vedas, to protect Vedas? It was you alone. When Vedas talk, Veda Mata talks about all these deities, it was you who took the effort to retrieve the Vedas. So who is Vedanatha, Veda Murti? You are the Veda Murti. And I shall sing only your wonderful glories. Once we remember this Bhava, our Madhura Geetam gives us a different flavor. Na? Un pugal paaduvadandri verundrum ariyene Vedamurte Vedamurte. No. For those who understand Tamil, I will explain English also. We are all devotees of our beloved Guru Maharaj. So Madhura Geetam, irrespective of whether we understand the Tamil, the beauty, the purity of this Tamil, which our Swamiji handles in these Madhura Geetam is secondary. Our love for Swamiji, we want to our best of lights, enjoy Madhura Geetam. In that you see how beautifully he has brought in so many flavors. Un pugal paaduvadandri verondrum ariyene. Apart from singing your praises, else, O of Vedas. Now, singing the praises of Bhagavan is the essential teaching of Vedas. Vedatin saram hariyin namam edumayamillai iduve tinnam bhagyam ullore varungal parandaman pugal paada. Our Swamiji says, those who are fortunate come and sing the lovely names and praises of Bhagavan. Why? Vedatin Saram. The essential teaching, essence of Veda is Harinama Kirtanam. So now Veda Murti, the real Veda Murti, the one whose intelligence is Vedamata, the one who protects Vedas, the one who preaches Vedas, and one who is shown by Vedas, Shastra Yoni, is our Perumal. Na? So, apart from singing your praises, I know nothing else. Why? Because Vedas shows us this path of singing the praises. Now comes this wonderful Divyadesa Vaibhavam shloka, now related to our lovely Madhura Gita. Veda pramanam pravadanti sarve dharmasya lokasya cha mangalasya nihatya daityo madhukaita bhautau tvaya vinakena samagritaha saha. When our Veda Mata was in distress, when she was apprehended by these two asuras, Madhu and Kaitaba, who possibly stand for Rajasam and Tamasam principles, but that's secondary. Let us look at the Bhava. When Madhu and Kaitaba robbed the Vedas from our Brahmaji, no other deities who find their place in Vedas responded to it. They just kept quiet. They didn't come to the rescue of Vedas. Let me give you an example. Suppose we live in a multi-room, 10-bedroom house, and there is this main hall where the lord of the house is there. And then there are other 9 little houses, rooms, where other deities or other chaps have occupied the room. When the house is under siege, everybody went under the bed, kept quiet. Only the lord of the house came, protected the house, which housed all the other deities also. Other 9 deities were also housed in that house only. But who came to the rescue of the house? Narayana, lord of the house. Huh? Then who is Vedamurti? Krishna, Srinivasa. So now let us sing that song with an imaginary emphasis. My emphasis. Un pugal paduvadri verundariene. Why? Vedamurti. Of no other occupation or job apart from singing your praises, because you are the Vedamurti. You see? So, when Vedas are the pramanas for us knowing the deity, all the deities find their place in Vedas. When Vedas were in trouble, Bhagavan, you only protected the pramanam. Na? You protected the pramanam. And so, Vedam pramanam pravadanti sarve. Since the word pramanam comes, what does pramanam mean? If we want to know about Bhagavan Sri Vishnu, then we can know him only through Vedas, not with our intellect. We can't see him directly. And so, he pramanam is the means of knowledge for us, the means of correct knowledge, means of right knowledge is Vedamata. She says, it is Narayanam, which is Parabrahma. Tattvam is Narayanam. Antar Bahishchatat Sarvam Vyapta Narayana. Whether inside or outside, everything is pervaded by Narayana. So, Vedamurti Narayana. So we realize, oh, there is Narayana. And Vedamata shows us through her direct voice, Shruti, or through other, children of Shruti, like Puranas and Itihasas, that surrendering to Bhagavan through an Acharya is the way, you see. So, Pramanam. And who is a Pramata? And Prameyam, right? So, the Acharya Purushas are the ones who show us this Pramanam, right? And here, our Divyadesa Vaibhavam says, Vedam is Pramanam. Somebody, And for it is the pramanam for two things, Mangalam and Dharmam. Dharmam is the means. Dharmam is the right conduct. What do we do? How do we behave? How do we speak? How do we think? Etc. Dharmam. Mangalasya. The fruit of dharma is Mangalam. Mangalam means freedom from the shackles of all these. Moksha is Mangalam. Na? So Veda Mata is pramana for two things. Dharmasya lokasya cha mangalasya. Veda Mata shows the path. Veda Mata shows us the destination. Veda Mata shows us the path. She also shows us the direction and the destination. Both the path and the destination. Means and the end. Purushartha and also hitam. How do we get there? Nihatya daityo madhukaita bhautau tvaya vinakena samagrita saha. At least when Bhagavan went to protect Vedas from Madhu and Kaitaba in a form which he took, somebody could have said, Bhagavan is going. Go back to the example. The Lord of the house is going to fight to protect our house. Let us at least stand behind it. Nobody came. So Alavandar, Sri Alavandar, Sri Yamunacharya, another great Acharya Purusha, in Stotra Ratna says, Bhagavan, He Ranganatha, He Srinivasa, He Vasudeva, which self-respecting Vaidika means the person who holds Vedas as the Pramana, who holds Vedas as the grandest source of divine knowledge. Which Vaidika would ever refute the fact that you are the Parasha? Because when Veda Mata was under siege, you alone went to her rescue and protected her. Namaskar. So Pramana is protected. Veda Mata is protected. Before we go to moksha and all that, for every activity, for every small act of obedience to the Vedic mother, she gives us little gifts. Na? When we obey our well-wisher, the grandest gift is our well-being on the long term. But that's not enough for us. Now we need a little gift now and then, recognition. Likewise, for a little dharma, which we do, Veda Mata has to give some phalam. And that is what is called amritam. A little bit of intermittent avantara, it is said. A little bit of a temporary encouragement phala. And to ensure that the fruit of following dharma, intermediate fruit, is also ensured, Bhagavan actually dharam nimagnam pralayamburasha udhritya kastishtati dramshtayeva. Dharma is shown by Veda Mata. We need a place for us to follow dharma, to practice dharma. And the place where you can do karma and practice dharma is only this world. You can't do karma in other worlds. Other worlds are only for either penance or to enjoy fruits of karma done in this way. Everybody wants to take a human birth in this world. So Bhagavan had to protect the world, a dwelling place for all of us, so that we can do karma. How did he do that? When this earth, when this world became immersed in causal waters, pralayamburashav udrit, when it was drowned in this pralayambu, pralaya waters, and the first Manu, he went, Manu went to Swayambhu, which is our honorary title for our Brahma, and said, Swami, you told me how to do all these things, etc. Right, very good, I understand. I know what to do, what not to do. You are the very embodiment of Vedas, but where shall I do it? Give me a dwelling place. If you raise your perspective above all these small little thoughts, then you can understand the grandness of these principles. The word Manu you put U before man, you get what is called as human, right? Manu, human, which possibly could be the root of the word human. I don't know if Western scholars will agree to it. It sounds very logical to me. So for humans, they are the only ones who can reap karma. Dogs, cats, horses, cows, etc. cannot do karma, right? Not reap. They can only reap the benefits, or they can reap the ill effects of karma done as humans in the earlier months. The choice to go in the path of dharma or adharma is only for us humans. So the Swayambhuva Manu requested Brahmaji, Hare, please give me a place to stay. And Brahma could not do anything at all. Brahma remembered our beloved Bhagavan. Bhagavan took Adi Varaha Rupam and uplifted Bhumi so that we have a day for us to do. To this day, this world is held by Varaha Murti. No, wait. Now you may say, where is Varaha holding that? These are all tattvas. You have to understand. Varaha Perumal stands for Yajnam. There is some cosmic balance in play, which makes Earth sustain life for this cycle of creation. It ensures something, a grand principle ensures ample sunlight, not too much, not ample rotation of seasons, not too much, not too little, ample day and night balance, not too much, not too little, fine balance. If there are cosmological constants, there has to be Bhagavan to hold it constant, because everything is running towards entropy or disorderliness. If there is a constant in the midst of disorderliness, we want to believe it is by divine design. I don't care what others believe in. It is there, right? To think everything is an accident, it is there, right? We have nothing against it. We do subscribe to their view. So here, when Bhumi to be uplifted to sustain life, our Swamiji's simple way of understanding this is, whenever we come to the Sannidhi of our Perumal, we don't generally pray, Bhagavan, ensure that the sun would rise properly tomorrow, that we would have moonrise in the right time tonight. Please ensure stars don't collide onto the earth. Please don't ensure earth is not rushing towards the sun and it is destroyed. We never pray for all that. Deep inside, we have the Shraddha, we have the faith, Vishwasam, that earth won't just be destroyed tomorrow. Right? We take it for granted. Our Swamiji very beautifully explained to our brothers and sisters in Mumbai yesterday in his satsanga that you know what devotion is? Devotion is showing our gratitude to Bhagavan. He said that yesterday. Gratitude to Bhagavan. And we should find ways and means, excuses to get into that state of gratitude. Why? Because we want to grow. Na? Devotion, there is no joy possible, no love possible, no realization possible. And so, what we take for granted, if we realize it is the divine grace which is sustaining it, that which is a very brash taking for granted gets converted into something very lovely, which is gratitude, which is love, which is devotion. That's why many of us in the morning, we bow to all the directions. We bow to above, we bow below, we bow everywhere. We look at her and bow to it. Why? Because these are all signs of divine grace, which is sustaining our very life. Without which we can't even feel pain. We can't even say I don't think there is anything called Bhagavan in this universe. If for all that we need Bhagavan to sustain life here. Narada Maharshi is reminding us, our Acharya is reminding us. When this earth, in which you have to do all this puja for all the deities, Indraya Swaha, Indraya Idannamama, you have to do some yajna, na? For that we need earth, na? Where will you do yajna? In mid-air, we can't, na? We need bhusparsham. Now Indra should have come to the rescue. Oh, Manu, you want to do Indra Yagam, na? Don't worry, I will take. No. No, they didn't bother. Who? Our Srinivasa Perumal, our Kshetram, to give us all these deities came. Bhagavan is happy. Very beautifully, Namadwaar says, our vidhi vadi. Those who are fortunate to worship Indra, let them worship. Those who are fortunate to worship other deities, let them worship. But those who are truly fortunate, let them worship Paramapurusha. Our vidhi vadi, Bhagya Visesham. So here, Adhara bhutam jagatam apitvam varahamadhyam patha nasmaranti. Oh, my beloved Bhagavan, you took a Varaha Rupa and then you uplifted the earth. You protected the authority, or you protected the means of knowledge for us to uplift ourselves as humans. You gave a place for us to do what is shown in Vedas, so that at least a little joy here, a little better joy somewhere in Devaloka, or the greatest bliss is realizing the surrender to Srinivasa Perumal is the end or the purpose of human existence, and hence the real source of bliss. So Bhagavan ensured Vedas. Bhagavan ensured a place for us to live. This we take for granted, no? So much that we don't even care if Vedic education flourishes or not. Why should I care? That's not how we are. I'm talking about people outside of this. And thankfully, some people who care in some way when they are protecting our Bhuma Devi, they are doing service to our Srinivasa Perumal. And then for all these devas to get a little bit of amritam, for all these people who do yajna to experience a little bit of Deva Amritam, also Bhagavan took so much care. We saw it last time itself. He became this huge turtle, Kurma Avatara, held a big hill called Meru Shikaram. He held, and Vasuki was the rope, and they were churning. They were not caring about what will happen to our Bhagavan's back. Are we giving him so much of who cared? Yet, kept quiet. For you, you are great. That's a different issue. At least they should care. They didn't. And they used your back, made you, upside down, started churning for their Amritam. You did that also as Amritam, at least intermittent, intermediate. And then there was this Nastika called Hiranyakashipu. He ruled the worlds for not 1 year, 2 years, 71 Chaturayuga. All the devas, they were all tormented by him. Still, we should stand for the truth. Na? Devas should have said, Namo Narayana. He is our deity. Hiranyakashipu, even if you finish us, I don't care. None of them said that. None. They said, Are, let Narayana be wherever he is. Hiranyakashipu, Namaha. Those were the standard of devas. But then a boy came, Prahalada. Devas came running to you, crying to you. Bhagavan said, don't worry. When my little child Prahalada is bothered a little in the eyes of Hiranyakashipu, Prahalada was never bothered. Our Prahalada Alva was not bothered at all. Bhagavan said, in the eyes of Hiranyakashipu, if Prahalada Swami is bothered, I will not tolerate 5 years of Prahalada. 71 Chaturayugas of all these others' prayers. 5 years. And Bhagavan waited for Prahalada to point his finger, and he waited in the entire universe to emerge from the place where Prahalada shows. And he showed a small pillar. Bhagavan broke open the pillar and finished this Hiranyakashipu for the Devas. Look, that is the meaning of that wonderful line in the 13th sloka, Kintu Tvameko Nanu Dina Bandhu. Bhagavan came of his own accord. Narasingha Latavaiva Prushte Vinidhaya Shailam Kripa Vihina Matanam Vidaya Sudam Pibantisma Sarve Paropakar You showed this entire body is to others. Paropakarartham idam sariram says Shastras. Bhagavan proved it as a wonderful turtle, as the Kurmavatara. So when you see Kurmavatara, remember Bhagavan's espousing this principle. The body is for the service of others. Then Nrisimha Rupena Puratvaiva Hatvadidaityam Abhayam Chadattam Tataf Prashamsanti Nijam Prabhavam Devastvadagre api kimatra chitram Traivikramam Rupamupetya Purvam Sampaditam Vajradaraya Sajyam Datva Balehe Dvaramupetya Hante Gadadara Tishtati Yritvam. Here our Narada Maharishi is saying, Anta, Bhata, oh my God, Bhagavan, who can ever come close to this wonderful Kripa of yours? Alas, you are so Kripalu. Ah, so Kripalu. Exclamation. This is how you celebrate. We all know the Dasavatar, the wild boar, the great turtle. This is not how you enjoy the Dasavatar. Why we are spending so much time in this is look at Dasavataram, every Dasavataram, not for Asura Samhara, all that Vyavaharam. For devotees like you and me, every avataram is a wonderful manifestation of Tvameko Nanu Dina Bandhu. Kurmavatara Dina Bandhu, Para Dina Bandhu, Narasimhavatara Dina Bandhu, and Vamanavatara Dina Bandhu. When you look at all these avatarams, remember the compassion of our beloved Bhagavan. And each of these avatarams shows a fraction of his compassion. Where we are going to come to is, now you collect all that compassion and make a form. Do you know what you are going to see? Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal. Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Sadguru Maharaj ki jai Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yadyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaayeti Samarpayami Sadguru Maharaj ki jai Rama Ramana Govinda Govinda Sri Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal ki jai. Radhe Radhe. Jai Guru.